My name's Geoff Wilkinson, I'm Managing Director of Wilkinson Construction Consultants. As we look back over Grenfell Tower, a lot of issues come about that have caused problems with people's confidence in the industry. To start to address those issues, we need to look at the way in which the residents themselves are involved. Simple things like having a plan B in case of a fire within the building, just to rebuild their confidence and to know that there is someone out there actually looking after them. It involves transparency of information, ensuring that they get copies of the fire risk assessments and that they're fully aware of who is inspecting their building, why they're inspecting it, and what the standards that are being applied are. If recommendations have been made, it's important that those recommendations are communicated to the residents of that building, and to reassure them that in the event of a fire, it's not just staying in place. I think there are major concerns about trust within the industry. These are things that can be dealt with and we can rebuild that trust, but it's going to take a long time to actually achieve that. What we need to do is we need to see some important changes very soon in order to be able to get that process running. It means things like ensuring that the people who inspect are actually competent to do so, the people that are testing are competent to do so. Once we have true independence and clarity and transparency in the industry, then you can start to address people's concerns over what's actually gone on. There are multiple challenges over the next 5 to 10 years that we really have to take a long, solid look at. In particular, the testing industry and ensuring that test certificates actually mean what they say on the tin. Ensuring that manufacturers are putting out their products that still match the original tests and to ensure that those standards are maintained. It's going to mean that there's a requirement for a lot more testing and inspection and a lot more third-party certification. In order to facilitate some of these changes, the industry has got to change. They've got to ensure that what they're putting out is properly designed in the first place, has pre-approval before they get to site, and that what they actually deliver on site matches what was approved in the first instance. This will also include things like technology and remote inspection techniques to fully record exactly what is being put into the building, how it's been put into the building, and who it's been put into the building by. By having a proper audit trail, you can deliver some much more in the way of confidence for the people that actually live in those buildings and for the regulators themselves. Without that audit trail, which is where we currently are, there is huge areas that are just not inspected and you can't have confidence in. So there's some of the things that really do need to change. For me, going forwards, the most important change that I really want to see implemented is a requirement that building control plans are approved prior to works commencing on site. As a building control professional, one of the hardest things to do is to go out and inspect a site when you haven't actually got approved plans prior to that date. We need to ensure that the plans are clear in advance of work commencing on site and that they're built to those plans. Any changes that happen have to go through a proper change management system. If we can get that in place, I think that will make a real difference quite quickly. As a building inspector, it's very difficult to ensure that the building will actually comply with the regulations. At best, we're out there to undertake a sampling exercise. One of the things that I think that would deliver real results is to utilise some of the BIM technology as we move forwards. Technology, apps, drones are already out there that would assist in that process. For example, you could have a drone going round measuring the building and ensuring that it actually complies with the original plans. Any areas of non-conformity would be highlighted and you'd have a system of recording through change management. That will deliver real results and ensure that what was designed and approved is finally delivered on site. There's quite a difference between the various claims that the manufacturer will make that a component complies with a particular standard, a test certificate, and a system of ongoing certification. So for example, a manufacturer could simply claim and self-certify that they meet a particular British standard. Then you can have a situation where you have a test certificate. The test certificate is a recognition that on that day, that particular product was tested and presumably passed that standard test. But that's not a guarantee that the one that's produced the following day or the day after that will still meet that standard. So what we need is a system of ongoing certification. Things like the British Standard Kite Mark are an example of this ongoing certification system, where the testing body will go back over a period of time to ensure that the original standards are actually being maintained by the manufacturer in the warehouse, and what rolls off the production line meets that standard. Building control has an important role in building trust as we go forward. It's important that people understand that we as regulators have a lot that we need to do as well, and that in particular requires that we are independent. I think it's important as we move forwards to ensure that the whole of the industry starts to work together. For too long you've ended up with manufacturers, certifying bodies, regulators all working to their own agenda. We need everyone to come together with the common aim of actually improving standards. Dame Hackett has said throughout that there needs to be a culture change, and she's absolutely right on that. And that works from top to bottom. Everyone needs to work together, and that will mean sharing information, sharing resources, and working together to ensure competency.